Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow host Johnny Paulus. Johnny, welcome in. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing good. We had the birthday party for my oldest today.
Oh, cool.
He's not officially 12 today, but he's officially 12 tomorrow.
He's 12 in your hearts.
No. I still have one more hour to enjoy having an 11-year-old son. At midnight, he will be 12.
So then, starting at midnight, you have one more year to enjoy your son for the next decade.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Once he hits teens,
it's coming.
I know it is. Trust me, I know.
It's coming.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yes, I have put together my own observations of years 1 to 2, hell. Years 3 to 12, the golden years.
Yeah.
13 to 25, hell part 2.
Oh, boy.
Hell with an attitude that talks back all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And thinks magically knows everything despite having absolutely zero life experiences. Yeah, it's going to be great, and you're going to want to hang yourself, and you and your during the first couple of years there, you and your younger son will become best friends as you enjoy even more firmly the last couple of years you have until he goes through the exact same thing.
Yep.
That's how it was with me and my brother, at least. Those 3 years where he had the head start into teenagedom over me.
Right.
Is when I became the golden goose of the family.
Right,
so to speak.
right. They're like, yeah, fuck that guy.
It's the advantage of the younger sibling.
Yeah.
You get those you get that head start where it's like, oh yeah, he's just so good, he's so nice. Before you yourself, like a mighty phoenix, rise out of the asshole ashes, start breathing fire all over your poor fucking parents. Well, that's cool. What was the thing that makes me envious that I'm not turning 12 that he got for his birthday?
Well, I mean, he's a big D&D fan, and it was a D&D themed party. So he got a couple D&D books and a D&D journal. And then about like 4 days before the party, Megan went to TJ Maxx. She sent me a video chat message. Hey, I found this Nerf gun. It's a Dungeons and Dragons Nerf gun, and the gun looks like a dragon. It has like spiny scales on the back. It's called like Dragon Sworn or some shit like that. She's like, and it's only $14. Should I get it? I was like, yeah, instant buy, instantaneously purchase that. But no, he asked for Hogwarts Legacy, so that is now in the house. He got the D&D gun. He got a whole bunch of shirts. He didn't this year. He didn't really have like a big gift, like Damon, our youngest. He really needed a tablet upgrade, so he got a new, Samsung A whatever tablet. But Liam didn't have any big ones. There was a bunch of D&D books he wanted and some shirts that he wanted, and then Hogwarts Legacy.
It's fucking crazy that there's Dungeons and Dragons Nerf guns. I guess I'm underestimating the resurgence of Dungeons and Dragons.
D&D is back in a big way, especially with the movie coming out. D&D is back in a big, big way.
Well, that is pretty cool. Fuck.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
For me this past week, and more so just the past couple of days, I have been dealing with horrendous neck pain. I blame a wedge pillow that I tried to use to increase my sleeping comfort.
Oh no.
And it did the exact opposite and completely destroyed my neck. So I've been riding the ibuprofen and Bengay train.
Yeah, no, we're officially that age now where if you have a bad sleep, you're toast for a couple days.
Dude, it's so bad. So I've been joking all day today. Anytime I'm turning around to look at stuff, I've just been yelling, "I'm Batman." For those watching on YouTube, you got the joke, but for those not, I earlier today I could barely turn my head. Now I kind of got it. It's just a little stiff,
right?
So hopefully by tomorrow we're back in business here. We'll have to see, but yeah. I'm still young in the oldness. I'm only 36, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Just that fucking wedge pillow, dude. I was thinking about it. I'm like, what goddamn sense does a wedge make as a pillow anyways? Like, how is that ever going to be comfortable? It's not as though that shape really works in any way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just went back to the old Bob's Freezy pillow.
That's the same one I got. I love that thing.
And life was great.
Mm-hmm.
And the cooling, soothing on the neck felt extra wonderful. So
I love that pillow. I really do.
Yeah. And I mean, fuck, what am I, like 5, 6 years old at this point? They're still like brand new.
Yeah, I know. They still feel great.
Yeah. Can't beat the Bob's pillow. Johnny's former employer for a brief period of time. Bob's Furniture, a couple years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is episode 106 of the Power Gamer Podcast. We are going to begin this week's episode, as we always do, by first discussing the games we've been playing this week. So I've completed a game this week, so I shall go first. Let's talk briefly on Hi-Fi Rush, which I have beaten. Yes, I've beaten Hi-Fi Rush, and technically that's the first game of 2023 that I've completed, and it's quite good. I really enjoyed all of Hi-Fi Rush, which seems to be in line with what most other people are saying about it, that for being a shadow-dropped game, that it's quite good. So not really a whole lot of things holding the game back. Its story is just perfection. Such a great story.
Mm-hmm.
It really hits all the right notes. It doesn't try to do anything that it shouldn't. And it's good, and I loved it, and the story's great. The characters in the game are also awesome. Some of my favorite characters ever. Peppermint is a total badass. We will see, I'm sure, endless amounts of Peppermint cosplay moving forward. And, it's just a really, really good, fun game that, there's not a lot to fault on it. Rhythm games aren't for everyone. And even though the game kind of advertises itself as being a rhythm optional game, it is not. No siree.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of the points to take down like big enemies or bosses require you to play basically what equates to a rhythm minigame.
Yep.
Especially in the parry system on the game. So if you can't handle a rhythm game, I mean, literally just stay away, because this very much is a rhythm game. Like, you could just button mash and eventually things will die, but you will still get to rhythm sections where you need to pull that off. Are there options to turn off or disable that? I think maybe in the accessibility menus there are, so you're not completely out of luck, but I do think it'd feel kind of lame to be in a tap this beat to defeat the enemy, and you're just not doing that. Yeah. So, but other than that, I mean, really not a whole lot to fault here. There's one move from one of the characters that I'm still kind of avoiding talking about because I don't want to spoil anything. But basically, this move knocks down certain walls that are in your way. But you have this really, really short reaction time. And basically, the mechanic is a circle closing on another circle, and you need to hit the button when it happens. And I think I talked about this last week. That there's this one that comes up that you have less than a second to react to. And I mean, that frustrated me the entire time I played this game. Outside of that, I thought all the gameplay mechanics were solid. The game never crashed on me once. The graphics on it are beautiful. The frame rate is impeccable. The story is just perfect. I don't think it overstayed its welcome. I think the end boss fight is satanically fucking hard. So much more so than the rest of the game, which I thought was a little odd. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but it's overwhelmingly good. I give Hi-Fi Rush an 8.5.
Nice.
Certainly worth playing. certainly worth checking out if you have the Game Pass. And I think it's a cheaper game anyway for those that are playing it elsewhere, like a $30 game or so.
Something like that, yeah. My 10-year-old, when he was, because he rolled credits on that like a week after it came out. I do remember there was 2 boss fights he needed my help on for exactly what you're talking about, the rhythm. It'd be like you do, ba 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 ba,
the parries,
ba ba
yeah.
ba ba ba, and like he couldn't. He was like
hard.
he was getting really frustrated, and I was like, I gave it to me, and I'd 2-3 tries I'd get it.
Yeah, because then they start doing ones where it's not just parry, but like you have to parry and dodge, and they get a little harder. So, no, but overall, really, really enjoyed it. So, Hi-Fi Rush completed. Next up, God of War Ragnarok. I put in a ton of time on this game. Finally making some strong progress into God of War Ragnarok. And yeah, this is a tough game to talk about without spoiling the fuck out of.
It is.
I mean, it really is, and I still say we're too soon to talk very in depth about this game. So my impressions are mostly unchanged. It's very beautiful. The combat's the combat, it is what it is. And it's fine. But I actually do like, considering for me that I know this is like blasphemy in talking about a God of War game, but honestly, the combat's not like the main draw for me. It's more about the story and exploration and things like that.
Same.
And this game leans pretty heavily into that stuff, so I'm not minding not doing the R1, R2 button mashing fest all the fucking time. In fact, sometimes in some of the sequences I played, it almost felt like the combat was unnecessarily forced upon me, just in a weird way. So I'll talk to you about that offline, because, again, I really don't want to spoil anything here. With God of War Ragnarok. Is it very good? Yes, it's very good. And I'm enjoying it. And I've got a long way to go. I looked at where is the chapter that I'm on in terms of the overall game.
It's a big boy. It's a big boy.
I'm like, oh boy. I've got quite a lot left to do. So it was kind of cool though, revisiting some places from the first game. I'll say that. Next up, Borderlands 3. I think I started playing this last week. I don't know if we talked about it or not. But me and Mandy have been going hard in the paint on Borderlands 3. And it's very good. It's a Borderlands game. I skipped this one for whatever reason when it came out. I just think that
me too.
There wasn't an appetite for me to play another Borderlands game after Borderlands 2, even though it had been a fairly long time between games. But then having recently played Tiny Tina's to now jump right into another Borderlands game, I gotta say though, it feels great. I don't know why I waited. The game's excellent.
Awesome.
Really enjoying it. Really great co-op game. It is not on Game Pass. However, it is on PlayStation Plus Extra, which I'd rather play it on PlayStation anyway, to be honest. So
yeah.
That is where we're playing it. I had a disc copy from when the game came out that I'd never opened. Just sitting there, and my old PS4 disc has the performance mode upgrades and everything for PS5. So you can grab those discs, I swear, for like $5. So if you're looking,
absolutely, yeah.
If you're looking for a great co-op game to play with your friends, that is optimized for the next gen console, Borderlands 3 is probably worth the look, and it's really good. I love in it. The home base is now a spaceship, and you're bouncing between planets, which I think is pretty cool. So Borderlands 3, working on that. Again, that is another huge game, so I'll probably be playing that for a few weeks, even though we have been working on that shit every single night. We'll see. Next one that I wanted to take a little bit extra time to talk about that I've begun on is a game called Harvestella. Now, I've been talking about Harvestella since it was first announced, and said I would pick it up right away. I more or less did. I've just been it's been buried in the backlog, but I'm firing on all cylinders right now on getting games knocked out. So I'm just plowing through stuff. It feels great. So having gotten through Triangle Strategy and Dio Field Chronicle, now moving into Harvestella, which gets me closer to rounding out my backlog of JRPGs. Just a little bit, which is good because fuck, Octopath Traveler 2 just came out. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
But so stopping on Harvestella, though, I feel like this was a game that was overlooked by a lot of people. And that's really unfortunate because this game is, I'm only a few hours in, but I really love it so far. It's very pretty for a Switch game. It runs very well. There's some, what I would describe as textural smoothing, you know, that where it gets maybe a little bit blurry, but in order to boost the frame rate, so who cares?
Yeah.
It seems to utilize that very well, keeping the frame rate high on a pretty detailed looking game. It is basically JRPG combat mixed with a farming simulator. So if you want Stardew Valley, but then to go get more resources and seeds and stuff, you go out and whoop some ass. This is the game for you, and it's actually a really nice balance between those two things. There's also some interesting progressive mechanics that you will be met with right when you start the game that kind of caught me off guard, and in hindsight are a bit eye-opening and cool, and maybe something that we should discuss real quick.
Okay.
So speaking from a spot of general speech, the character customization is not very deep in Harvestella. Okay. That being said, there's only like female character models, so you're playing as a female person. However, when you first open the new game thing, it'll first say select your gender, male, female, non-binary. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll play as a guy because, you know, I'm a guy or whatever. So I hit male, and I come to the next page, it's all female character models. I'm like, huh. And some of them it's got a set of character models that's more tomboyish looking, and then a set of character models that's more classic JRPG look. I'm like, huh. Interesting. So then I kind of putzed around with it back and forth and made my character and got out in the world. And I found that. So I was like, well, okay, so, you know, I'll just, seeing as how I'm playing as a girl, for me, I'm like, all right, I'll just pick, you know, female girl character and it'll be business as usual. So I get to this spot where there's a few characters talking, and I'm like, the old man says, well, thanks for helping him out, referring to me. I'm like, wait a damn second. Did I forget to go back and change the thing to female so I'd get the correct pronouns? And so I played it for a little bit, and then I sat there and I kind of had this, you know, I didn't need anyone to ever explain to me that it's bothersome to not be called by the pronouns that you think are correct for yourself, right? But this was the first time where it actually happened to me, because I'm like, I'm playing as a female character. I want people to refer to me as she, her.
Right.
And it's like, I made a mistake and selected male. Now they're calling me he, him. I'm like, holy fuck, that's annoying.
Wow.
And so I went back and I'm like, let me just reset this, because like that's gonna fucking piss me off if that happens, because like I'm trying to play the game as a female character. And I'm like, but what's interesting to stop and think about for a moment is stop and think about the other side of that coin, and then stop and think about why it's cool that they put that into the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, people that feel like they were born in the wrong body didn't get a check mark to select which one they wanted. They just like got the one that they got, and now they have to continue on through their life with what they were given. Like
you are a he, him kind of dude. And if people just like one day you woke up and everyone's like, hey, what's she doing? What's she up to? You'd probably be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting, maybe for people that get combative about the whole pronoun thing, to maybe just stop and think for a second. Like, just imagine if everyone started referring to you in a way that pissed you off, or in a way that you didn't identify as. You'd be ticked off. So, yeah, I think it's really cool that Harvestella, basically for lack of doing anything fucking else in the character customization. I mean, you can choose your hair color, you can choose your eye color, and that's fucking it. But then they do go through the trouble of, they'll set it up so they either refer to you as a male, a female, or neutral. Because you can say non-binary, and then everyone will say, oh, thanks for helping them out. I'm like, huh, okay. This is interesting and eye-opening.
It does still seem weird that there's no male character models at all. That seems odd.
Yeah, no, you're... That's my point, is it is
right.
A little strange.
Yeah.
But, no, it's all female character models. But it's either kind of gruff-looking female character models or very ooh-woo-looking female character models.
Got it.
I went with the latter. So she's out there in her, cute halter top fucking working the fields.
As one does.
Yeah, so even for being progressive, it's still very Japanese, to put it mildly. All the other characters in the universe are very, very attractive underage women, because it's a JRPG and that's what they do. So don't get it twisted, but it is nice to see a step of progress from
that's interesting.
From that side of the pond. Finally, I've been playing some Star Citizen, but I've kind of been wheeling down on it as I know the new patch is coming out. And I'm trying to get some bigger fish fried, so still playing with it, still having a good time. I like you, Star Citizen, but wanting that new patch to come out so I can get the full experience. Johnny, that rounds out what I've been playing this week. How about you?
Still playing some Kingdoms of Amalur. I'm still continuing to get major World of Warcraft vibes from the game. I'm starting to figure out how I want to build my character, I think. There are these weapons called chakrams that are like they're like bladed discs that you throw at a distance and they kind of loop back like a boomerang.
Fucking Xena.
Yeah, and I really like those because you can get up close and do shit, but you can also, if you're fighting a big guy that hurts real bad, you can still get a little bit of distance. But those things are based off sorcery, so if I'm going to be putting points into sorcery, I might as well just be a caster that also has those chakrams. So I currently have a big-ass staff with lightning and my chakrams with fire, and then I have like my big fire spell and my big earthquake spell and my big lightning spell. And, I'm getting a little, the questing's getting a little tedious. It is starting to feel a little bit like an MMO. There's a lot of, I don't know, go to this place and kill the 10 things and come back. And I'm not really that invested in some of those. But then I'll get into the next quest where I'm like, oh shit, this is like, I'm actually interested in this. So I'm still enjoying the game, still having fun with it. The big one that I started playing this week is Atomic Heart. Now, we've talked about this game quite a bit before it came out. And I was always on the side of, I don't think it's going to be very good. I've watched trailers and I don't know. I just have this feeling like it's going to be, a 6 out of 10. I am very happy to report that I was very, very wrong. This is my favorite game I've played of 2023. This is a motherfucker of a game. Okay. I am a massive FPS fan. I love them all. Started with Doom, all that stuff. So, listen to the words when I say them. Atomic Heart is if Half-Life, BioShock, Wolfenstein, and System Shock had a baby. It has all of those things. And as soon as you get to a certain point in the game, you're like, okay, this is just like Half-Life. So this is sort of a Half-Life love letter. Okay, cool. Then you get to the next part and you're like, oh shit, this is like an actual big boss fight where I have to like do dodge mechanics and like figure out how the hell I'm going to beat this big thing. That feels a little bit more like Wolfenstein. Then you get into the hacking aspect where once you get out into like sort of the open world part of the game, you don't really want to get into fights with the robots because there's so many of them, and they have an alarm level similar to like a Grand Theft Auto. If you make too much of a ruckus, you're just going to get swarmed and you're going to get murdered. So you do have to sort of, you hack into the system so that you can see the cameras, and you can sort of plan your route of like, okay, to get to that town, I got to go down this road. It looks like I can sneak through that field. I can go here. I got to remember that there's a camera there. And then as you're going through, you're like, okay, cool, going through the field. All right, let me take that camera out. Oh, shit, somebody saw me. And then you get in your big fight, and you do your thing, and it's so fucking good. It's so good. And now I've got powers with my glove, so I can lift things into the air and shoot them while they're up there, and then when I hit the button again, I smash them down into the ground. The story is great. The graphics are incredible. It is stupidly optimized. I mean, I know I have a monster PC, but even still in 2023, I still play games where I have to turn shit down to get the frame rate that I want. And in a lot of games, I struggle to get that magical 144 hertz, because that's the refresh rate of my monitor. There's a lot of games that just won't let me go there. No matter how much I tweak settings, I can get to 100 or I can get to 110. Atomic Heart with my 3080 is like 144 pegged, and I haven't changed any settings. The only thing I turned off was ray tracing, because ray tracing is still very intensive on your video cards. But if you have Game Pass and you are into first-person shooters, this is like my first must-play of 2023. I am really stunned at how awesome it is, and I'm surprised that there's not a lot more hype about it, because it's a great game. It's got it all. It's got platforming puzzles. It has actual puzzles. It has great gunplay. The melee feels really good. This is a strong recommend, and so far it's my favorite game of the year. So I'm very, very surprised by it.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to play that one.
It's awesome.
High up on my list of need to do. I have it installed on my Series X, but debating if I don't want to just fire it up on the PC instead.
Mouse and keyboard, baby. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. It's so good on mouse and keyboard. And then today, because we got it for the oldest, I got to fire up Hogwarts Legacy finally. I only got about an hour in because we had to watch The Last of Us and then I had to record the podcast. But I basically made it through the opening sequence, like sort of the main tutorial, setting the stakes for the plot. And then finally we arrived at Hogwarts. The big camera pans out. It does the Breath of the Wild thing. And then the logo pops up. And that's where I stopped. So my character has arrived at Hogwarts. And I kind of know a little bit about sort of what my character is fated to do or to become or what have you. And this game is stunning. There were several sequences in this game. There's one very early in where you're trying to get to this building that's across this big vast chasm, and you're with this other professor, other wizard, whatever. And he casts a spell. You've seen some of it in the trailers where all these pieces kind of swirl around and then assemble together. And you see the bridge come together brick by brick. And then you see the stairs come together step by step. And it's smooth, seamless, buttery, eye candy. I haven't seen anything in the game that doesn't look gorgeous. I'm already sucked into the story. I think I'm in for a special treat with this game. I'm very excited with my first hour of the game, and I can't wait to keep going. I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then lastly, your boy finally hit Infinite on Marvel Snap. Season 1, I think I capped out in the 50s, and then the next was in the 60s, and then 70s or whatever, and then last season I capped out right around 94 or 95, and then I started tail spinning downwards, and I finally made it all the way down to 91, and I was like, I just can't play the game because the season's done in 2 days, and if I drop below 90, I'm going to be in trouble. So I made it. I hit that 100 mark, and for anybody that doesn't play this game and doesn't know what I'm talking about, apparently out of all the people that play Marvel Snap, about 1% hit Infinite. And once you hit infinite, you cannot drop below infinite for that season. So my favorite thing about the game is experimenting with decks and trying to cook up with new ideas and find new metas and, what are the cards that everybody's playing? What are the cards that counter those cards? And now that I'm at infinite, I have a week to play. I have a week to really experiment and try to make some new decks and have some fun with it. And the frustration is gone. The pressure is gone. If I lose, big deal. If I lose 8 cubes, I don't care because I cannot go below 100. So I now have a week to sort of figure out what deck I want to carry into next season. And I was very excited. And my beautiful Twitch community was there to support me. Pop on my Twitch and say hello some night. Twitch.tv/H3LLH3RO.
Yeah, that's big. That's hard to do. And it's not really ironic's not the right word. Coincidental maybe is the correct word. Coincidentally, this season where you've gone super hard in the paint on Marvel Snap, I have barely fucking touched it. I have barely touched it. I don't know. I've just been so preoccupied with other things. I didn't consciously go, I'm not going to really play this game anymore. It just sort of happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, well, fuck. I guess I'll keep just not doing that then. Because I'm like, well, I'm getting all these extra things done on my Switch and stuff. So I'm like, maybe it's okay that I'm taking a break because I've got goals-wise, I've got a much bigger stack that I'm trying to get through right now.
Well, and the thing that's nice is with the way they do the cards, like the new cards they come out, they're either Series 4 or Series 5, and then Series 3 is the cards that you get just through normal progression. All of the cards now that are unobtainium and are hard to get, let's say you stopped playing Snap for 3 months, all of those cards that you wished you had, they're all regular run-of-the-mill. You can pick the game right back up, and you'll start getting all these cool cards. So I think the game's actually sort of conducive to if you want to take a break, you can come back and be like, oh shit, I didn't think that card was gettable, and now I have it, and what can I do with it?
Yeah. So no, I still like it. Still like watching it. But yeah, I just have not been in the playing it mode lately. So
Right.
I'll blame lots of things on it. I'll blame Star Citizen for taking up most of my time when I'm at my computer. Obviously the Switch and all these JRPGs I have are chewing up all of my mobile time because I'm just taking the thing with me fucking everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, kind of interesting that has happened. But yeah, big kudos for JP hitting the 100. And definitely check out the Twitch channel. I was going to ask you, actually, I'm like, well, with you having that beat, are we going to see anything else in the week or so that you have?
I mean, I did an Atomic Heart stream. I think I'll probably do another Atomic Heart stream this week, but otherwise it's going to be mostly Snap. Like I said, I want to take advantage of, now that I've hit 100, I can mess with decks, and I can go, well, I won 3 and lost 12, so that deck doesn't work,
right?
And not be upset or frustrated about it. With the way the ranking system works, and the fact that I think what the game really needs is just an unranked mode. It really needs a way for you to
kind of has it, but you have to play with someone you know.
Yeah, you have to duel with somebody you know, but I just mean to go. I think to go against this current meta, that this card and this card and this card would be a great idea. Let's try it. And then you go lose 6 games in a row and you drop 2 ranks and you're like, it took me half a day to get those 2 levels. And now I lost those 2 levels in an hour.
Right.
And that just doesn't feel good. So getting to infinite now, I know that I've proven to myself that I can do it. And now that I have done it, I have a week to sort of play around and try making different decks and trying to come up with decks that nobody else is playing.
Well, very good, sir. It is, however, time for us to move forward into our next segment. And we're going to talk a little bit about Sony's state of play that they had. First off, I want to say just kind of the usual thing to media and people on Twitter. I just want to remind every single one of you to go fuck yourselves. Number one, just right in the ass with something foul and Virilis.
Oof. Damn.
Because again, it's just with this bullshit, dude. You know, the first thing I saw about Sony State of Play on Twitter is some people aren't happy with the Sony State of Play. And it's like, okay, A, who the fuck is some people? Because what? So I want to put that one out there because this happens like every single fucking time. And it's so annoying. And so if, you know, a couple weeks ago we had an episode that just did incredible. And whenever that happens, I usually think, okay, you know, maybe this caught the ear of someone in the industry and it got passed around a bit because that happens. You know, we did an episode on Dreadwolf, the upcoming Dragon Age game. And so I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. If people were like, oh, these guys have a scoop on Dreadwolf and started clicking on the show. So, yeah, to any of you folks out there that are responsible for like what gets shuffled around on the internet, just go fuck yourselves. You're so fucking annoying. I hate every last one of you. And I can't wait for you to cease to have any pull on what gets posted on the internet because you all fucking suck. And you're wrong. Because most people, I think, were pretty excited about what we got to see just out of the blue, willy-nilly, like there wasn't any like, we're going to talk about this thing, and then it didn't happen. No, there was nothing to be disappointed about. It's like, you know, you got the ice cream, okay? They handed you the ice cream. You got to eat it. You ate all of it. And so it's like the person that like goes to a restaurant, sits down, orders something, eats all of it, and then complains that it was bad.
Yep.
It's like you ate all of it, you fucking asshole.
Well, and that's the frustrating thing, and we've had this rant before, but the problem with like Twitter meets clickbait is that one guy posts a tweet after watching the State of Play and goes, "Why didn't we get a trailer for whatever the fuck?" And then another guy goes, "Not gonna lie, wasn't really feeling that Street Fighter 6 trailer." And then some clickbait asshole will literally just take those two tweets and write an article about it. Be like, some people are upset about. You're like, dude, this guy got like 150 likes on his tweet. He's not exactly blowing up.
It's the goddamn Kotaku special, dude.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Where they're literally linking like complete randos Twitter posts as news. It's like,
yeah.
That is the Kotaku special these days. Long gone are the days of Stephen Totillo and Jason Schreier. So now that that's out of the way, this State of Play was pretty fucking good, in my opinion. Yeah. There was 4 really big supplements of information to things that I wanted more information about. And we're going to talk about those. It's not going to be us talking about everything that was shown in the show because I don't think everything's worth our time to talk about here. So certainly if you want to check out the whole thing, you can hop over to either IGN, you can hop over to Sony's blog, you can hop over to Push Square. Basically anywhere that covers video game news has a summation and all the videos linked of what they showed. So starting off, I want to talk about, because now I think that we finally have a good idea about what this game actually is. I want to talk a little bit about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And Johnny, I'm really curious what your thoughts on this game are, being that you are our resident comic book stan. So, how are you feeling about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
Well, I don't know if what I'm going to say is accurate, but I think this is the first time I've heard them refer to this as a third-person shooter. And when I heard them say shooter, I was like, huh, so it's not like the Arkham games. And then when they showed us the actual gameplay, it is a shooter. It's a over-the-shoulder, crosshair, jetpack, popping headshots shooter. And I think that's awesome. I'm pumped on this game. And I mean, I already love the setup of Brainiac comes to the planet and has taken the Justice League and they're all bad now. You know, evil. There's nothing scarier than evil Superman. So if the big bad is evil Superman, that's awesome. But Dude, I'm pumped on this game. It looks like a hell of a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be really fun for co-op. I mean, can you imagine getting 3 buddies together and blasting through this game with story and cinematics and like big set pieces and big boss fights? And I went from like, I mean, obviously I was excited about this game because it's on my fantasy draft. This one is on my list. I did breathe a sigh of relief when I watched this trailer because I was like, this game looks like a hell of a lot of fun. What were your thoughts on it?
So I've got 2 coins on this game.
Okay.
Let's start with the good.
Okay.
The cutscenes that they showed in the trailer, I thought were great. And I thought the character models and the voice acting and, what they're trying to convey was interesting and cool. With Wonder Woman and the Lasso of Truth and the Flash, that whole sequence was pretty good. I was like, okay, this looks like it might actually have, some nice acting in it. The other side of the coin, though, is the gameplay. It looks like ass.
Really?
Oh my gosh, dude!
I completely disagree.
I understand that you do. That's fine. But I've played Crackdown before, and I don't need to play.
Oh my god!
And I don't need to play fucking Crackdown again. And that's all this game looked like. It was just every single shot of gameplay was one of the characters just bouncing through the air and shooting down on rooftops full of enemies or shooting at big purple blobs. And I'm like, yeah, that looks like it'd be fun for maybe 60 seconds. And then 60 hours later, because this is a game as a service, it's not just a linear 12-hour campaign. I'm like, this game looks like fucking hot garbage. I think it's going to be Rocksteady's worst release of all time. I think it's going to review very poorly. Low 6s, mid 6s at best. And I think the curse of the comic book game is going to continue. And I mean, really seeing this for the first time where they're showing it off, as it is, I thought it looked like complete garbage. And I really think they're in trouble with this game. And I think it's going to do really bad. And that's my take on it. I compare it to Crackdown. Outriders, Anthem is what this game looked like, just with DC comic book characters. That first part's still there. I don't know if that's enough leg for it to stand on, because in a game as a service, story delivery is usually fairly weak, and this is a trailer designed to generate interest in the game. And I'm trying to think, well, okay, past that scene, how much more of that can we do? And I think not much.
This is Rocksteady, though.
It is, but it's also them making game as a service. I could have said the same thing to you about BioWare before Anthem came out, and you would have been like, oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's BioWare. I could have said the same thing to you about a Crystal Dynamics release. You would have been, oh, yeah, you know what? It is Crystal Dynamics. They have a really good history of these strong story games.
It's true.
And then it just is what it is, and I hate games as a service. I think they always generate a lot of hype and then super underdeliver because they're just not compelling products to play. And, I'm looking at the crosshair. I'm looking at the flow of action. I'm looking at how many shots it takes to fucking drop everything in the game. I'm like, yeah, this looks like ass. It looks like a terrible game. All the characters look like they play almost exactly the same. They're all bouncing through the air. It's just got different ways of delivering it so it makes sense. Harley Quinn had the little robot she attaches to. The shark had a rocket pack. I don't know. This looks bad, and I think it's going to do bad based on what I saw. That's kind of my takeaway of.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
And I wish I had a track record of being wrong. I really don't with these things, unfortunately. It's hitting all the wrong buttons, and I just don't see games like this ever do well. I wanted Outriders to be good, and I thought that had more compelling gameplay that was more like Gears of War, and that still was shitty, and I played and beat that game, and it sucked, but, was it fun to get buzzed with and play with my friends? Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Would I consider doing that with this game? Yeah, probably. I love a good an excuse to do co-op. That's kind of been my whole focus at night lately. Do I think this game's going to be good? Unfortunately, Unfortunately, I don't. So I hope for the sake of your fantasy team that I'm wrong, but
Yep, me too.
I really don't see anything that makes me feel otherwise at this point. So
all right, well let's move on
we
to
shall
my
see.
next one on the fantasy draft.
Can you check and see actually what is the release date on Suicide Squad? Isn't that coming out relatively soon? Can you check that while I'm
Sure.
bringing about our next game?
Yep.
Which is another one on Johnny's fantasy draft, which I would say is in the green now. I was a little skeptical about it when he picked it, but Street Fighter 6 is looking mighty nice. And
May 26th, by the way, on Suicide Squad.
So it's not going to be any different than what we saw. It's going to be that. Got it. That's not good.
That is the game. Yep.
That's not good. Street Fighter 6, however, is in the green. This game is looking very, very nice. Johnny, what were your thoughts on Street Fighter 6?
It looks fantastic. I mean, I don't play fighting games. This is not a genre that I really care about, but I was really glad that I picked it for my fantasy draft when I watched this trailer because it looks incredible. And it was the first game confirmed for Evo this year. So I don't think they would have done that if they had played the game and thought it was bad or weak or whatever. I think it wouldn't. I don't think the Evo community will turn down new games if they don't think it meets the requirements.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested in checking this one out, and I really haven't checked out a Street Fighter game since Alpha 3. So it's been a long while for me. 4 and 5, just didn't pull me in for any reason. But I think it's been maybe long enough, and I like the character list for this. Some of the new characters are kind of weird, but in terms of the old characters that are coming back, we have the full list confirmed at this point, so we know we're getting classics like DJ, E Honda, Dulcim, who looks ironically kind of like bearded David Letterman all of a sudden. I mean, look at Dulcim in Street Fighter 6. He kind of looks like
I'm Googling it right now.
David Letterman with the beard stage. We have Ken, who now looks like a hobo. He was always my favorite character from before. Blanca, who's a little creepily too photorealistic for his own good.
Okay,
Guile.
I see the David Letterman.
Yeah, Guile, Chun-Li, and of course Ryu. And yeah, some interesting new characters. I'll be interested to see how this does. But the big reveal for in this most recent trailer is that 3 more characters were revealed. Of course, Zangief, the iconic Russian wrestler. Lily, who I believe is a brand new character. She seems like an Aztecian kind of inspired Central American thing. I don't know. She's kind of weird. Very bubbly. Hey, let's take a selfie kind of personality, but then dressed up as...
She looks like she would be annoying to fight in that game. I will say that.
And then one of my all-time favorite characters to annihilate all of my friends with, Cammy. Cammy is back. Cammy's got a haircut. Cammy's looking good. So I will probably be kicking everyone's ass with Cammy and or Ken and or Guile, because those are kind of my three go-tos.
And the other big thing is every single trailer we've seen for this game, they keep mentioning these other modes in the game, but they haven't given us much yet on that, unless I'm out of the loop. They even at the end of this trailer, it was like Street Fighter 6, and then it was like blah 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 blah. And I remember in the early trailer, it looked like you could like walk around a city and interact with characters and shit. We really haven't seen much more of that.
Right.
So I'm curious, is that something that is going to be half-baked and lame, or is it going to be something that blows everybody's minds when it hits? Time will tell.
Who knows? We shall, of course, find out. Capcom's, I would say, very in the green right now. Because they also showed Resident Evil 4. They showed a lot more gameplay, which we already knew that this game's going to be good based on the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. But this just looks special. This is on my fantasy squad.
It is.
And I think it's going to absolutely annihilate everything in terms of its meta score. Because the game that it's building off of is already considered the best Resident Evil game. And I, having just recently completed that again, I just felt like I was looking at a fresh take on it, and recognized every scene that they showed. It's like, oh yeah, that's this part. That's this part. It wasn't something that I didn't understand. So it seems as though they're really taking care of the old IP, and then they drop at the end the little bomb of mercenaries. So everything's good with Resident Evil 4. Its release is, of course, just around the corner. There's a demo coming, which I think is cool, even though I've kind of been staying away from demos.
Me too, yeah.
Anything to add there with Resident Evil 4?
No, I mean, we knew it was going to be awesome, and when you picked it, I think it was ready to be my next pick. So, it's going to be a banger. We all know it's going to be a banger, and the trailer just confirmed it's going to be a banger.
That's 2 bangers for Capcom. Look at them go. Yep. Go Capcom. Okay. Lastly, Baldur's Gate 3. We saw an awful lot of Baldur's Gate 3 in this. And now, everyone remember, this is a Sony State of Play.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're getting the Baldur's Gate 3 big fatty drop, which I think that in and of itself is pretty cool. Yeah, that it's being done there. But yeah, it just looks like the next step for Larian, who, in terms of CRPGs, has been knocking it out of the park lately. Some may argue that they are the new BioWare at this point. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 looking very well put together. I know it's been in a state of early release now for almost 2 years. Does that sound right, Johnny?
Yeah. Yep.
And the game will be coming out at the end of this summer, August 31st. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about some things with Baldur's Gate here in a moment. But overall, what did you think of the, new content, new things that you saw, Johnny? Because you're quite the CRPG fan, quite the fan of Larian.
Yes. So, Divinity Original Sin 2 was their last game, and I think it stands tall in the top 5 best RPGs of all time. And that game was so highly regarded and so critically acclaimed that Wizards of the Coast, aka Dungeons and Dragons, approached them and said, hey, we've got this big, awesome sports car that nobody's fired up or driven in 25 years. It's a little thing called Baldur's Gate. Can we hand you these keys? Do you want to go ahead and handle the next game? And this was a game that, similar to Divinity Original Sin 2, they said, we're going to do an early release thing. If you want to buy in, you're going to be able to help us play test the game, find bugs, yada, yada, yada. I was such a believer in the game that I bought in on this thing 2 years ago. And similar to Star Citizen, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, I hit the update button, I fire it up, and I just check on it, see how it's doing. And I actually did this last week. I fired it up because they had a big patch. It's like a 50 gigabyte patch. Good Lord. How is a patch 50 gigs? But fired it up, and it's running better. It's very, very well optimized, and it's a true Dungeons and Dragons experience. When you talk to a character and you decide you want to try to use your persuasion, or you want to use your intuition to see if you can detect anything weird, or you want to try to intimidate them, you then have to roll. And the dice appears on the screen, and you click it, and the dice will roll and give you your roll on that number, and whether you fail or whether you succeed, that's the decision, similar to Dungeons & Dragons. You can't try again. So one of the things that I think is going to make this game so interesting is this is a game that you can fully play co-op, online co-op, and couch co-op in a super expansive Dungeons & Dragons adventure that because of the basis of roles and different characters' strengths and weaknesses, I think everyone's going to have a somewhat different experience with this game, right? They're going to be like, oh, that guy? Oh, I just intimidated him and it was over. Or like, oh, well, my intimidation check failed and it turned into a massive fight that took us 30 minutes to take them all out, and so-and-so almost died. And, this trailer is I'm glad I put this on my fantasy draft. I think this is going to be in the conversation for Game of the Year. And I'm also glad that they confirmed officially. They've been saying for a very long time that it was coming out in 2022, and then that didn't happen. And they've now been saying it's coming out in 2023. But finally, at this state of play, they officially announced a release date, August 31st. It is coming out, and I will actually be able to play the game. I've played, I want to say 15 hours, but the early access doesn't go past Act 1, and they've made clear that your save is not going to carry over for when the actual release comes out. So I didn't want to get 40 hours invested into a game and then have to start all over again. So I'm just like, I know I dig it. I know how the game works. You've already got my money. Let me know when it's done. I'll be here. And this trailer looks sick. I cannot wait.
So moving on and staying on the topic of Baldur's Gate 3, there was some obvious bits missing from the announcement that spawned into its own separate ordeal. So let's move into segment 3, which I have entitled Baldur's Gated. As reported by VGC, alongside its reveal for Sony's console during a PlayStation State of Play presentation on Thursday, developer and publisher Larian confirmed an August 31st release date for the RPG sequel. The news left some Xbox fans wondering whether the game will also be coming to Series X and S consoles. Right now, Larian is planning to release Baldur's Gate 3 for PC, Mac, GeForce Now, and PS5, a spokesperson told Push Square. That said, they don't have exclusivity and will announce support for additional platforms if and when they're ready. While it wasn't explicit what he was referring to, Larian CEO Swin Vinke also tweeted several hours after the initial announcement, quote, "Relax, we still aren't playing the exclusivity game," end quote. Larian has confirmed that an Xbox version of the game is in development, but that its release status is currently uncertain due to technical issues the studio has yet to overcome. Quote, "We've had an Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3 in development for some time now. We've run into some technical issues in developing the Xbox port that have stopped us feeling 100% confident in announcing it until we're certain we found the right solution. Specifically, we've been unable to get split-screen co-op to work to the same standard on both Xbox Series X and S, which is a requirement for us to ship. There's no platform exclusivity preventing us from releasing Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox day and date, should that be a technical possibility. If and when we do announce further platforms, we want to make sure each version lives up to our standards and expectations." Johnny, help us digest all this information.
So, in the next-gen world, if you're a video game developer and you're making a game for PlayStation 5 and for Xbox, you have to keep in mind that on the Xbox side, there are two machines. There's the Xbox Series S, which is the cheaper $299 version. It's the skinny one. It's about the size of a laptop. And then the Series X, which is the big fridge-looking one. Those two consoles are drastically different, just horsepower-wise, all of it. I mean, it's just every spec across the board is less on the Series S. Here's where it gets complicated. If you're developing a game and you're saying that it comes out on Xbox Series X, it's got to run on Xbox Series S. That's a requirement. You can't just say, this is Series X only. And there have been, I've seen many people in the gaming community and on Twitter and everything, all saying, we're in this next gen of consoles. Why don't the games look like it? Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them feels like we're kind of playing the same sort of thing, but at a higher frame rate. And a lot of the running theories out there is that these developers, if they want to get that Xbox dollar, they've got to make it work on the slower machine. So a lot of people think that the Xbox Series S, even existing, is holding back this current gen of game systems. I think if Larian was able to slap a sticker on the label that said Xbox Series X required, like this will not run on a Series S, I think they'd be fine. The main reason why they're having this issue with split screen co-op, one of the reasons why I love Divinity Original Sin 2 as much as I did is this is a game that my wife and I were able to play couch co-op on the TV, and Divinity Original Sin 2 has the best split-screen co-op I've ever experienced in an RPG. When you're both on the screen together, there's one big screen. As soon as one of you goes further away, it automatically goes to split screen. We've all played games that do this. Here's where it gets interesting, though. I can go, honey, my bag's full, and I need to go upgrade my spells. You keep exploring through this forest. I'll be back. And I can go fast travel to town. She's still in the forest on the other side of the fucking zone. She's clear on the other side of the island. I'm back in town vendoring stuff and getting spells. And then all of a sudden I hear the battle music go, and she's like, oh, shit, I'm in a fight. I'm like, okay, hold on a second. I'm almost done. I finish vendoring. I hit my teleport stone, and boom, I'm right there next to her, and now we're in the fight together. I don't think the Xbox Series X could handle that, where you have one character 2 miles away from the other one, and they're both playing, 60 frame, 30 frame, doing their thing separately. It's a lot to ask of an underpowered console.
All of those things make sense. However, and we've talked about this a lot here from your attempts to get me to clear Divinity Original Sin 2, which Larian is the studio behind. And that came out to PC, to PlayStation 4, to Xbox, whatever the fuck it was called,
Xbox One. Yeah.
And then also it came out on the stinky Switch.
Yes, but it came out on the Switch way later. Way later. Years later.
Understood. However, I am just going to put this out there that it did come out on the stinky Switch. And the first place that I experienced that game was on the Switch, and it's so not the same game, even though it is, but it's not. It's just optimized completely differently, but it does all those things that you were saying. It just looks like ass while it does it. So I'm not really sure how much work goes into making your game look like ass, or if this is more just a thing of they're not willing to do that with this. Because I don't think it's that hard. If you can get something to run in the DirectX world, which is, anybody ever wondered where the fucking X came from with Microsoft, the people that own and make DirectX, and why it's the Xbox? Maybe I just blew some people's fucking mind there, but that's where it came from. Yeah. And it's what's made the Xbox the easiest system to develop for, because there is no porting. If you've made it on PC, it fucking runs on Xbox. The end. So I'm really kind of confused. I get what you're saying. Yeah, do I think the Xbox Series S holds shit back? Yeah, sure. I mean, you can't exceed your lowest common denominator when it comes to consoles if you're going to release cross-platform. It just you cannot. But do I understand why a PC game, why they're having trouble getting that to where they would pass on that money? Yeah. No, I don't understand that. And I really think it's short-sighted to come out, do these big announcements and things, and have that be an issue.
I don't think it was smart of them to go, here's why. I don't think that was the play. But what realistically, what I think actually happened, because again, this is a game that's been in early access for a long time, and the release goalpost has been pushed and pushed and pushed and put for over a year. I mean, the game was supposed to be out like, I don't know, last summer. And then here we are. Now it's coming out the following summer. I think what happened was it came down to, we have to release this game in 2023. We have to get it out. What are some things that we can put on the chopping block that will get us there? What are the things that are holding us back? Well, we're still hitting a lot of issues with the Xbox. We're still struggling. If we take that away, that might shave a month or two off of the release schedule. We can still hit a release date in 2023 on this console, this console, this console. We should be able to have a version for the Xbox by spring 2024. I do still firmly believe that you're going to see this game on Xbox. It's clearly not going to be release day.
It's really confusing to me that this was the play. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
I'm always going to use Divinity as the goalpost, because that's what they're trying to achieve again here with Baldur's Gate 3. And Divinity did have a staggered launch. It originally came out for PC in 2017. They love August 31st, because on August 31st of 2018, about a year later, they did their release date for PS4 and Xbox One. And 2019 is when they did the release for Mac and Nintendo Switch. So I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. However, I do think that this is not how you do it.
I agree.
You know,
I mean, they threw Microsoft under the bus, and I think that was probably
it's
not
what you want to do with Microsoft. Yeah. But the other thing too is it's I mean, fuck the company. It's more the people that bought into those systems. And again, I just don't have an easy time accepting that you can get something to run on a Series X, but then you can't get it to run on a Series S. I don't buy that. Because if you're going to release on PC, well, yeah, sure, okay, you're going to make things run on 40 fucking 80s. But you're not going to tell anybody with a 1650 that they can't run the game. It's going to work. And that's less powerful than a Series S. If you have a 1070, guess what? It's going to work. That's a hell of a lot less powerful than a Series S. So I really don't buy the theory that the Series S is holding back something that's going to be so widely played on a variety of systems on PC. I don't think they have to look the same. I don't think they have to hit the same frame rate. So that's why, to me, this almost sounds more like they have a standard of quality that they're not willing to budge from. And if that's true, then maybe we don't see an Xbox release on this.
I think they'll crack the egg. I do. I think they'll figure it out. I think they hit a reality in time and went, we can keep puttering away at the Xbox version, and we can delay the game another 6 months and then release on all the consoles at once.
Yeah, but
or
thinking of it as a businessman though too, it's like, at what point does Microsoft not tell them to go fuck themselves? You know what I mean? It's like you're involuntarily giving Sony exclusivity for free. You can make those tweets, but it just puts the magnifying glass on you. You know, it is what it is. It's like it's coming out one place and not the other. You know, ultimately, Larian's motivating factor is cash. And if they've pissed off one of the biggest places to release their games, I mean, if I'm the head of Microsoft, I say, you fucking put it out the same day as it comes out on PlayStation, or you don't put it out here and you go fuck yourselves. How about that? That's what I would tell them. Because it getting released on Xbox does more for Larian than it does for Microsoft. This isn't going to be it's not Call of Duty. Okay. If this doesn't come out somewhere, the platform it doesn't come out on is really not going to care. I mean, this is great for CRPG fans. However, that being said, it's not make or break for Microsoft to have this. And I would say that if I'm in their camp and this is now what's happening with, I think this is going to be a really interesting story to actually see progress. Because if I'm Phil Spencer, I'm saying go fuck yourself.
Yep, you just threw us under the bus.
Go fuck yourself. You're not putting it out here at all. How about stop worrying about it and go fuck yourself is what I would tell them. Have fun with Sony, and we'll see you never. Eat shit. Which would be a huge that'd be a financial disaster for Larian. So I was just blown away by this whole story and everything, and I think all the angles of it that you can look from are very interesting. But like, this is Bush League shit from them, and not how you want to do it. Because whereas we're excited because we are agnostic users in the video game world, so Johnny Paulus and Mike Dawson have a hard time understanding what the kid that just has an Xbox feels. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that kid's probably pissed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So we'll keep looking at this as it develops. I would be surprised if this doesn't come out though on Xbox the same day as PS4 or PS5 rather. I would be very surprised. Because I do think there's going to be some behind the scenes,
strongly worded phone calls.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this puppy up, shall we? In blankets with love.
That's right.
I've always wrap this puppy up. I don't know. It's kind of like, it's a weird saying, but it's like,
it is a weird saying.
Yeah, it's like, huh. Why are we wrapping it up? And I'm like, yeah, let's go with blankets and happiness, because that's what I want for my puppy. Let's wrap this puppy up.
Puppies do like blankets.
It's time for one up. Johnny.
Yes, sir.
E3 is fucked.
Yeah. Sure is.
So Sony not going, Microsoft not going, and now Nintendo not going.
So I mean, it's going to be like Ubisoft and Blizzard
publishers,
yeah,
and Tencent, probably. I think it's done. I think Jeff Keighley has won, and E3 is not going to be looking so hot. So we'll have to keep our eyes on this, but kind of the end of an era, but such as many things are ending. It is kind of nice not getting fire hosed with all the announcements on one day, like we used to, and them being better spread out. But in the same vein, E3 was really exciting because it was all coming at E3. So, now we have the Game Awards, which is sort of taken over as the big spotlight moment. But E3's in a bad spot right now, and I guess now is will it ever come back? Will it ever return to its former glory? And that's a big question mark. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, and we'll have to see how it does this year without any of the three big console manufacturers being present. So wanted to call that one out. E3 is fucked. Johnny, what's your one up this week?
My one up this week is cheap Steam keys. So a few weeks ago, I was talking about the Psych Odyssey, the Double Fine 35 episode documentary that's on YouTube about the making of Psychonauts 2. And in watching that, I got bit with a nasty bit of nostalgia. Was like, man, I haven't played Brutal Legend in forever. And Brutal Legend is awesome. It's Jack Black gets magically transported to a heavy metal universe where he then has these gigantic, battles against hell demons. And it's just a totally over-the-top, ridiculous game. And, I just had the thought of, it's been out for a long time. I bet I could get it for cheap. And I go look on Steam, and it's $15, perfectly reasonable price, but I knew I could do better. So I started looking around on the internet. What do you think I purchased Brutal Legend
$1.
for me? Not that good. It was $3.38.
Fair enough. That's really good.
Anybody getting into PC gaming, one of the big reasons why I'm a PC gamer is because of cheap Steam keys. If there's ever a game that you want to buy and it's been out for a while, just search that game, Steam key, space discount. And you will find websites like Fanatical and Kingwin.net and cdkeys.com. And these are websites that they'll even sometimes have brand new $60 titles. They'll have the Steam code for $40 and $30. And so I just wanted to shout out, if you're new into PC gaming, or you've been PC gaming for a while and you've only ever bought your games directly from the Steam store, hit your browser first and see what's out there. Because especially the older games, man, you can scoop them for $2, $3, $4. So yeah, I now have Brutal Legend on Steam permanently in my Steam account, and it costs me less than an energy drink. So
yeah, I've
awesome.
always been a big proponent for it's instant-gaming.com.
They're
a very
one.
good.
Yep.
Just be sure you pay with your PayPal account, by the way. Don't.
Yes. Always pay PayPal.
Don't use your credit card, because they thankfully have a very tight verification process for your credit card, but it takes fucking forever. So just pay with PayPal if you go there, and you will get your game instantly, as the website name suggests. If you pay with a credit card, it's not so instant gaming. Johnny, any
what's that? What was that URL again, Mike?
Instant-gaming.com. That is where I buy everything for PC. Everything. It's
Returnal for $40 right now.
They're not fair how good their discounts are. So definitely go. Company Heroes 3, $38.
$38 came out last week.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's one of my my fantasy draft games. How's that guy doing?
Yes, it is. It's doing okay. At last I checked, I think it's low 80s, like 82.
Oh, it's not looking so great on IGN's been fucking slamming everything lately. They used to be all 10s. Now what's going on?
They must have listened to our podcast where we kept going, well, everybody.
Yeah, no, it's happy on Metacritic. It's got an 81.
Yeah, so I say last I checked, it was 81, 82.
That's not too bad for being one of my replacements.
Yeah, that's a dub.
I'll take it.
Dub.
Any closing thoughts as we depart for the week, sir?
No, be excellent to each other.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Unless you identify as a dick, in which case nobody can tell you.
And then you can be.
Nobody can tell you whether or not you are a phallic thing.
And if you want to play the wizard game, play the wizard game.
Play that damn wizard game and be evil.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna be the
evil.
goodest wizard that's ever walked.
No! If I ever get my hands on that game, I'm turning.
You're gonna be.
I'm turning everyone inside out, and everyone's gonna be wearing fucking skin suits, because that's how I play. We will, of course, be back again next week with another great episode of the Power Gamer Podcast for you to enjoy. Until then, I am Mike Dawson.
And I'm Johnny Paulus.
Next time, take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.
Yeah.